See a couple more sliding in, but I'm gonna get started here. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending our monthly sales meeting. So this is our sales meeting for March. We're going to be going. I got a lot of information to share with you. We also have some things that we're going to be trying to educate you on and teach you to help you get more business. Always one of my big goals is I want you to be able to come away from a sales meeting and be able to talk to your clients about that big question. It's always the agents, your clients are always like, how's the market? How's the market? How's the market? I want you to be able to answer that calmly and intelligently and kind of know what's really kind of going on. So I'm just going to go ahead and start jumping in here. And so, how's everybody feeling about the economy?
Out on the picture looks very ominous.
Well, but I mean, like.
It's a bright sunshine.
Yeah, she said good. Well, I'm really glad that you said good because, like, what happens when you look at the news, right? How's the economic news about what's going on with the economy? It's not good, right? I mean, like, and I get it. Good news doesn't sell newspapers, right? It doesn't make good news. But what we're seeing is that we have a lot of negatives in the news about what's going on with the economy. And I just kind of want to talk about like where are we really at? And so overall economic growth, like for like the last quarter, is still up. We're still seeing strong GDP numbers. Quarter over quarter continues to keep growing and moving in a very positive way. It did not end off as quite as high as they thought it was because we had that partial government shutdown during that time. And again, this is not about being political. I don't lean left. I don't lean right. I'm just trying to say these are the facts of what we're really seeing. And so we're seeing where a lot of folks are feeling a certain way about things, but that's not really what we're seeing as far as what's going on. So that government shutdown, it overall hurt our GDP just a little bit. Now, also we've seen where inflation is stabilized. It's not where everyone wants it. They want it under the 2% rate, but we've been in that 2.5% to 3% range for a while now, and it's holding pretty consistently. They're still trying to get it down, and that's why they haven't moved the interest rates quite as much as we had hoped they would. But we're still seeing where overall it's way better than when it was 6%, right? So I'm not saying that, and it's never going to go back to where it was. The price of eggs will never be where the price of eggs was. That kind of stuff. I get it.
89 cents.
Yep. Now we have seen where mortgage rates have been running at the lowest level in 3.5 years. Is that good?
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, like, this is absolutely, like a really positive thing. Unemployment is still holding really, really steady. We still see where folks' wages and overall employment is looking really, really good. We're not seeing any kind of negatives there about what's going on. So what we're seeing is that, like, from the economy point of view, we're seeing good, strong economic growth. We're seeing good jobs, and we're seeing flat mortgage rates, and mortgage rates moving in the same place, right? So is this bad for us? No. But if you feel it's bad for you, what does that do to us? I mean, we're all Americans too, right? And if we start feeling down about the economy, we start feeling bad about things going on, it can be really influential on how we treat the market, how we go, well, there's no point, market's crap. No point, the economy's in the basket. Is the economy in the basket? No, it's not, right? So I guess what I'm trying to say is separate politics from what the reality is. And I'm not going into politics, so don't, we're not going to try and touch anything like that. So, but what does the data show?
Sorry.
Thanks for laughing though. But what does the data show when we're going through a military conflict? Oh.
Yeah, I got it. Sorry.
Well, that was pretty funny though, huh?
Just kidding.
Hey, you.
Y'all.
Martin, go ahead, Deb.
Ready?
No, Deb.
So,
What happened, Deb? He's gonna need one.
let's talk about what's going on
Is it broke down?
No, it worked.
Okay.
It worked. I'm good. I'm still good. So let's talk about what we see happen during a military conflict. Unfortunately, we've got a good bit of data to show what happens during a military conflict over the past years, that kind of stuff. And so what we see is that, like, when it comes to like interest rates, inflation, the Federal Reserve, what's going on in the bond market, and overall what's happening in the economy, that's what's going to drive mortgage rates. Anytime that we have war, military conflicts, that kind of stuff, it's temporary. It is not a long-term blip. So what have you guys seen since all the mess started going on overseas in the Middle East? What have you seen happen to interest rates? It went up. What I'm saying is we are seeing that, but that tends to be temporary. The data shows that this will be a temporary pain point for us, right? That's what we see. I mean, you can see it again and again and again. Inflation, Federal Reserve, bond markets, economy. That's what's driving our mortgage rates. And it's going to continue to drive our mortgage rates. Now, a lot of times when you have uncertainty, the mortgage rates actually start falling. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't start seeing it actually move the other way, probably temporarily again, right? Because what happens is that when there's a lot of uncertainty, the market starts buying treasuries. And the 30-year bond mortgage market is based on the 10-year treasury. When the price of the 10-year treasury goes up, interest rates go up. When the price of the 10-year treasury goes down, interest rates go down. When more people start buying it, the prices go down. And so a lot of times investors, they want to be safe. So they start moving money into treasuries. That drives those rates down. We aren't seeing that happen yet. I'm just saying that if you look at the data, historically, that's what starts happening. And so I wouldn't be a bit surprised if we don't start seeing that level back off, and then you'll start seeing people claim that, oh, see, everything's just fine. But really, it's just another sign. Our mortgage rate's going to be volatile during this whole period right now. It's really what I want you to understand there. Yeah, they're going to move up, they're going to move down, they're going to bounce all over the place, and they're not going to seem like they're making a whole lot of sense. And that's okay, because it's kind of normal. Inflation continues to be the biggest driver of mortgage rates. Like if you lay out when inflation went up, you know, remember that slide I showed you earlier when the mortgage rates when the inflation went up, what happened to mortgage rates then? Boom, that's when our mortgage rates shot up, the exact same kind of thing. So when inflation moves up, what's going on with inflation though? It's flat. We looked at that earlier. So like if mortgage rates are not moving crazy, then we're going to see where, if inflation is not moving crazy, we're going to see where our mortgage rates aren't moving crazy either. The volatility is going to be coming on through what's going on with fuel prices and all the stuff going on in the Middle East at the moment. But that should be a pretty temporary click for here. It's not about the military conflict. Y'all with me?
Yes.
Okay. So here's your basic, I guess, the wrap up for this part, right? When there's war, geopolitical risk, a lot of stuff like that, rates tend to fall. If there's a recession, which there's not a recession, but if there is a recession, rates fall. When inflation goes up, rates go up. And when the economy is really on fire, when there's a lot of things happening in the economy, rates go up because they're trying to slow the economy down. These are not things that we see going on. We don't see the economy blowing up, but we see good, solid, steady growth. We're seeing inflation holding a lot better. Yes, we have a lot of geopolitical risk at the moment, and I don't see us anywhere near a recession. So we should be looking at rates continuing to move in a very positive way throughout the course of the year. We are going to have to get through what's going on overseas in the Middle East at some point, but until then, expect it to be real volatile. Y'all with me?
Yes.
All right. And can you feel okay about that?
Yes.
Right. Yeah. I'm not, again, separate the politics from what the markets are really doing here. So, by the way, this is what I went ahead and pulled up just so you could see all the military conflicts we've had, and there's no rhyme or reason to them, right? It's because the military conflicts are temporary. They're long-term drivers, any of that kind of stuff. So So let's talk about what's happening in the market. Like what are we seeing in our market? Because we were kind of talking nationally before. So overall, sales prices are up a little bit. They're up about 2.5%. And so the top number is Georgia MLS. The bottom number is FMLS. And so we're running about 2.5% higher this year than we were last year. Is that good or bad?
I saw you looking at.
No, not really. I mean, if I'm being honest here, like, do you want to try and sell houses in a down market? I've sold houses in a down market, and when you sell houses in a down market, everyone says, "I'll wait for the prices to fall all the way." I'm serious. It's a bad thing. No one's like, because who wants to buy a house and think, "Oh, it'll be worth less next month"? Do you want their property values to go down 2.5% in a month?
No.
No. Would you like for your property to go up 2.5% this year? Yeah. And so now we are not running nearly at the level that we had been in past years. Historically, we've been running 4.4% a year for the last 50 plus years. 4.5%. That's what property values tend to appreciate on an annual basis. Now, for the last 10 years, it's been 60%. That's not really sustainable. That's a bubble that we can't have. So seeing that we're having much more moderate price growth, is this good or bad for buyers? Good. It's also good for sellers, right? They're not seeing depreciating values. They're just not seeing the rate of appreciation the same as it was before. And so we're seeing where overall pricing is, I would say, cooling, but it's not going in negative. It's being really flat. This is also kind of seasonal. You always see where going into the spring market, we see prices start moving up along with inventory, and then we see it flatten off at the end of summer, and then we start seeing it taper down into the fall. So now this one is a scary one. New listings. New listings is basically flat in Georgia MLS, down 2.7% in FMLS. Why is this scary? We ain't got no houses to sell. Right, this time of year, what should be going on with listings this time of year? I mean, we need more. I don't need less listings right now. The buying volume starts shooting up now through the next several months. We're going to see a lot more activity going on. We need more houses. And so this one is a point of concern because residential real estate tied directly to supply versus demand. If we don't see supply increase, what's going to happen to prices? I mean, who was in the business summer of 21? Y'all remember summer of 21? We're all like Flo at the diner. What do you have, hon? Right? I mean, like we were just taking orders. You know, we had one open house with 75 people at it. Right? We had multiple offers on properties, like double-digit property value appreciation. That's not healthy. So we need more listings. We absolutely do. Now, overall, total listings right now is up over 8.5% over last year in both Georgia MLS and FMLS. And so I'm not saying that's bad. I'm saying at one point this past year, total inventory was up almost 30%. Now we're down to up 8%. Now, when you have no new listings and you still have 8% more listings this year than last year, how old are these listings? They're old. They're getting old, right? We don't have a lot of new stuff coming on. So what is all this stuff? This stuff that's sitting there, right? Huh?
Stale inventory.
It is stale inventory, absolutely. But this is also a whole group of sellers that the market is like shaking them, right? All our optimistic pricing sellers. Let's try this price. How'd that work for them? No, so we're seeing a lot more open-minded sellers right now, and not that they want to be open-minded, but is the market correcting them? Yeah, absolutely. That's for sure what we're seeing. Overall, we're running 69 days on market in Georgia MLS and almost 60 days in FMLS. Who needs to know that?
The sellers.
Well, sellers for sure. But like even when you start talking to your sellers about listing a home, I mean, this is an important factor to be able to throw out there, right? So when we sit down with the seller, we always start and pull out the calendar and say, okay, when do you want to sell? A lot of times they'll be like, oh, in the next 2 months. Okay. Well, I need 30 to 45 days to go from just through due diligence. And our normal marketing time is 2 months on the market. So if you want to sell 2 months from now, when should you have been on the market? A month and a half ago. You follow me? And so the other thing is we want to be able to set clear expectations. If our average days on market is almost 70 days on market, and they're like, oh, I mean, a lot of our sellers like, you think we'll have an offer in the first couple of days, right? You know, like after, and I'm hearing more and more where agents are like, my listing's not on the market for 30 days. What's average marketing time right now? 60 days, right? And if you're not setting a clear expectation with your seller, you're going to feel like you're a failure. That's the average. That means we have a lot that are still in the 45, 40 range, but we also have a lot that are in the 80 range. So be thoughtful about that. Be able to use that number. Now, the other person this is important for is our buyers. Buyers start looking at what kind of listings. New. We got a lot of new listings? No. What do we have? Old stuff. So we're seeing now's the time to start looking for some deals. You're starting to look at price reductions, those kind of things, because that's an important piece as well. So right now we are sitting at about a little over 4.5 months of total inventory. We were pushing 5 months earlier. So we're seeing that taper back down again. So that doesn't bode well for prices continuing to hold steady. I know I keep saying the same thing. We need more inventory, right? Now's a great time to be looking out and reaching out to your sellers. Okay. Since I'm on the same soapbox, what do you see? The yellow line represents our total inventory. What's happening with inventory? All right. And especially right now, should that not be tapering up going into spring and summer? 100%. So now, even though I'm saying we need more inventory, who do you think I'm talking to about we need more inventory? No, I'm talking to you. Who needs to be reaching out? I'm 100% serious, right? Right. I mean, like when you start looking at the economic data, if you have folks that tried to sell in the fall, if you have folks that were thinking about selling, is now a really good time to go on the market. We see where inventory is tighter than when it's been. We still have a positive sales trend going on. Is now the right time to reach out to those folks who said, well, talk to me next year. We'll, when the kids graduate, these kind of things. Now's the time when we need to be reaching out because one, you can be the hero, right? These are folks that need to sell and we need the inventory. We're heading into this time of year where this is an important thing to chat about. Y'all with me?
Yes.
All right. So overall closed sales, total volume, up in Georgia MLS, down a little bit in FMLS. A lot of this is still carrying through. We had a pretty dismal December and January. A lot of the rates were still there, that kind of stuff going on, but those months were pretty bad. We also had a lot of weather concerns during that time. It's been an interesting weather year. But overall, we're seeing where total volume is really changing right now. We're seeing a lot more activity in our markets. I don't think that's going on because we're, the same thing happened with pending sales. Both of those are tied together. Now, what this here is, so this is a sold analysis. And so what I want you to understand is the average listing in FMLS sold for 95% of its original list price. The average listing in Georgia MLS sold for 97% of its original list price. So we're seeing where 4 to 5% is the average discount that our sellers are taking right now. So what does that mean that our sellers are doing?
Listening to her.
Yeah, the optimistic pricing. Optimistic pricing is not your friend. And it's not the friend of like even though I'm saying, look, we need more inventory, we also need realistic inventory. So when you have a chance to sit down with your clients, do a comparative market analysis, show them what's going on. Say, these are the other homes similar to yours in this area, and this is what they're listed for. This is our competition. And then right here, these are all the properties that are similar to yours and that are currently under contract. And then over here, this is the section where this is what a buyer was willing to spend for a home similar to yours. Now, would you not agree that your home is probably going to be priced somewhere in here?
And nod when you talk.
Oh, and nod. Yeah. You know why you nod? Because you guys are nodding with me, right? Same kind of thing. Now, do you have them in the range of reasonable now? Yeah, makes it much easier to have that conversation. So we need them there, but we also need to understand that the average seller is taking a 4 to 5% discount.
That's kind of interesting. If you look at if the value is rising 2.5% every, for right now, the trend, but yet they're taking a 5% discount. That's kind of interesting how that goes. So I just want y'all to be aware. Even though average, the listing is going 2.5% above what it was, but the average actual sale is 5% less than the listing.
Well, but that's going to be. I want you to hang on to that, because in a minute we're going to talk about how you can structure some sales a little bit differently today. So, also, y'all hearing about all the new foreclosures coming on the market?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, lies, lies, lies. That's the red line. What do you see? Nothing. Okay. And I get it, I mean, like there's a lot of folks who still think, oh, there's this big foreclosure wave coming, that kind of stuff. There's always people talking, but let's face it, like, how many people do you know that's underwater?
I don't know. Cheryl's got a few.
Well, there might be, but like generally speaking, there's not a lot that are underwater. Now, if we had a lot of people underwater, that would be very different. That's not the case. I don't know anyone that home is worth less than what they owe on. Not personally, I don't. And so that number is really, really low percentage. Now we are seeing where people are having economic challenges and those kind of things. The problem is most of the foreclosures, guess what it's roughly 70% of our foreclosures. Guess what they all have? Equity. They have equity. They're just shoving their heads in the sand. They don't want to deal with it. They don't want to lose their home. So they just figure, you know what? I'm not going to deal with it. And is that going to fly for them? I mean, they may not want to sell. I get it. It's not going to be a wonderful conversation, but do you want to sell and capture $40,000 or $50,000 in equity and be able to carry that forward? Or do you want the bank to take it all? The bank ain't never. Cheryl, is the bank ever going to give you a penny back? Not a penny, is it? So I know that there's some economic conditions that's affecting people's lives, but in 70% of our foreclosures have equity. So there are folks that need our heart, that need us to help them out there, but we don't have a big pool of people that's just like, out there.
Like 2009 and 20, I think 2011 is, and 2012 was one of our biggest REO sale time. It's not like that anymore.
Yeah.
You won't ever see
Nowhere near like that.
houses less than 50 grand. Because I had an
Well.
investor about silver properties. Now it's worth $250,000 for less than 50 grand. So
I've identified some areas where I think we need to be looking at, prepare us for what's going on in the next 90 days. And I kind of want to go through with these because I want to make you aware and also looking at the things going on. Now, we talked about this last month, but our silver tsunami, right? Every day, 12,000 people turn 65 in the United States. For the next 2 years, 12,000 people today, 12,000 people tomorrow, 12,000 people the day after. For the next 2 years of turning 65. Do you not think that's going to impact housing? 100%, right? So being able to understand what folks that are going through that, like changes in life, these folks need something a little bit different. Like when they're looking like this is not your first time buyers. What do they want to be close to? Healthcare. Right? Healthcare is a big deal. Family. They're moving for family. We're seeing where we have a lot of 55 plus communities going in. And now we're seeing 55 plus townhome communities. Y'all seeing these? Guess what they got in them? Elevators. I'm serious. Right? It's just cheaper to build up than it is to build out. But for a lot of folks, they want to age in place, but their house is not set up for aging in place. If all your bedrooms are upstairs, it's not going to be a good answer. No. But you know what the real positive with these folks is? Guess what these folks have? Money. They got equity, right? These folks bought. So, you know, there's some great opportunities to help these folks. But I see where we have a lot of realtors that don't know much and have not really, they don't know what Sun City Peachtree is. They don't know what the Crestwinds are with the 55 plus communities. They can't identify those 55 plus communities. Like that's a very important thing that we could really be helping a lot of folks out. Just to understand how that works, where they're at. Is this going to affect housing? Absolutely. The folks that get in early on this, they're going to be the ones who's going to start taking market share. Y'all got me?
Gotcha.
All right. At the same time, on the other end of the spectrum, we have first time buyers. I think first time buyers is a real opportunity right now. So, with first time buyers, last year was the lowest we've ever had first time buyers. Lowest level of first time buyers. Our percentage of first time buyers was less than 25%. Y'all know what the first time buyer average was in the past? Half, 50%. Now, at the same time, the largest generation that we have are millennials. And we have the largest group of the millennials all reaching first time home buyer age over the next 2 or 3 years. Now, what is the first time home buyer age? They are 40-year-old household virgins, right? 38 to 40. They are much older. And honestly, our buyers across the board are older. Our repeat buyers are averaging 60. Our first time buyers are between 36 and 40 right now. And so this group, the largest population in the United States, was all born 36 years ago. So there's all this pent up demand. And then you saw earlier, we have interest rates holding steady, right? We have wages that have been improving. We have overall affordability looking the best that it's looked in a long time. This is a group that has a ton of pent up demand. So if you can say, on one hand, I'm definitely down with like, hey, let's look, let's help our seniors. At the same time, if you don't want to do seniors, first time buyers. Either one is a really great opportunity for us to be looking at. So your first time buyer seminars, rent versus buy workshops. What is the average renter's net income or net worth?
Come on, Mark, you hear there's plenty of time.
Mark knows.
Renters net worth,
Yeah.
Mhm.
10,000.
$10,000. What's the average net worth of a homeowner?
Come on, Mark, you know that's one.
280, 400, 310.
$390,000. I mean, it's not even close. Yeah. I get surprised. Right here. So all I'm saying is this is a really good opportunity here to be reaching out and helping these folks, because I think both are two really good groups to look at. Now, this one may seem like a negative, and I'm not trying to be negative about it, but divorces are up. Now,
Don't worry, Alan, I'll get your paper later.
oh, right. Look, we are almost 30 years married, so like, she can't get rid of me. I'm like a bad cold. But divorce filings are up. They're up big time. Right. I mean, it had been about 45% of divorce. I mean, of marriages ending in a divorce. That number has moved up well over 50% now. We're seeing where percentage wise divorces are up. And about half of divorces, guess what they need to liquidate? They need to liquidate real estate through the whole kind of process. Honestly, Ming and I over the years, at one time, we helped them, a couple going through a divorce, and she helped the wife, and I helped the husband buy. It turned into 3 transactions. So, like, I'm not trying to say yay divorce, but like, are these folks needing help? Do they need your heart?
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, one challenge here is if you want to work divorces, please be conscious about the fact that they need your heart, but you're the only person that everyone talks to, right? Even the divorce attorneys don't speak. Everyone talks to you, and it's always you tell that B and you tell that A, right? I mean, like it's that way the whole time because you're the only one. So if you don't want to be like camp counselor, don't do this. Because you are the one, and you have to have some empathy. These are people that are going through and hurting,
Yes.
right? And real estate's coming along for the ride, but this is not a good time for them. But they need someone to help them. And so this can be a really great thing. If you really want to be very effective here, go and befriend your divorce attorneys. I'm serious. Look, divorce attorneys are hustlers just like we are. They work off word of mouth. And so go and meet divorce attorneys, talk to them, say, look, I hope if you have any clients and they need real estate services, I can help you. You know, I have a lot of clients that need legal services. I'd love to refer you. Is there anything I can do to help you grow your business? Who would be like, no, get out of here? Nobody, because they're all working off word of mouth, same as we are. So don't be afraid to go set up a meeting with a divorce attorney, that kind of stuff. This is a really good opportunity here if you've got the right heart to help folks. Are people hurting and need us? Yes, absolutely. So
Most your successful divorce attorney eventually become a judge of that county municipality. So y'all kind of figure out who is good. Just Google and look at the rating. Get the one that's, because if I was everything thinking of divorce, I will hire the best one in the municipality, seriously. And they're the one that typically know how judges works and everything else. So they're probably the one, probably the busiest. And I know this is horrible to say, but it is what it is.
let's talk about investors. Investors is an opportunity for us. And let me explain what I mean by us. Like on the national level, what does everybody hate? Investors. But do they hate the big investors or the little investors?
Okay.
All the big guys, right? Oh, you're a large institutional investor? Huh, right? We hate them. They're putting they're putting legislation in, they're trying to block them everywhere. The big investors are getting just hammered everywhere. So they're pulling back. But that's making opportunity for who?
Mom and pops.
The little investors. And the benefit for us is who represents the big investors? Not us. Who do we represent?
The little ones.
Small guys, the local investors. That's what we're doing. And so we're seeing where inventory's moving up. We're seeing where those large institutional investor purchases are down. And that's creating opportunities for our local folks here. So partnering up with flippers, partnering up with buy and holds, talking about, you know, how to do investment properties, that kind of stuff. We're seeing this is a really good opportunity if you have an investor database. If you want to work with investors, I see now as being some of the best time for local investors, because a lot of the big guys, you used to go to the courthouse steps and all the big guys are there. And then every offer had another offer from one of the big institutional investors. They're all pulling back right now. And that's going to make some nice opportunity. So, but it's all the little guys. And the little guys definitely need our help. Now's the time to start reaching out and engaging with your investor databases if you haven't been doing that. That make sense? Y'all seeing this thing going on the news and they're always passing that kind of stuff? Great for us. Now, home purchase cancellations. We're having houses, you know, like right now, are the buyers being picky?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. We're seeing a lot of contracts fall out. That's not a good thing. So we need to make sure that we understand, you know, what's really going on with that. Now, what states have the highest number of cancellations? This is not something I'm like, yay, we're number 2. Like we have the second highest contract cancellations in the United States. So is this an issue that either we deal with or is going to eat us up? I mean, it's hell to go all the way through, whether you're working on the buy or the sell side, and then lose the deal during due diligence. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing a large percentage of deals that die during due diligence. So, you know, that due diligence period is killing us on things. So we need to be talking to both buyers and sellers, but in particular, sellers. Like when due diligence, when we go under contract, is the buyer going to be doing an inspection? Yes. Are they going to be coming back?
Yes.
Is now the time to be really pushy as a seller and really aggressive on like, I'm not doing anything. We're seeing, will the buyers walk? 100%. So please prepare your sellers that if they don't negotiate, then we're going right back into this kind of thing. We had a deal die for $500 the other day.
Oh, no.
Now the seller's got and the agent's got to go put the house back on the market. Start the whole process all over again.
I got a question for you.
$500.
When you guys have a seller that absolutely refused that $500, how do y'all talk to the seller?
How do we talk to them?
Yeah, to convince them that this is worthwhile venture and what have you.
Well, I would talk to them about the cost of holding the house. I mean, if you're
Thank
living in
you.
a house, you're still paying utilities and all this stuff going on. You may actually, yeah. You
Wonderful.
do some more money. You might as well do $500. Like, right.
Yeah, no, but we just had that. It was a $500 garage repair. The seller refused, and for the buyer, it was a safety issue. And she had little kids. She was afraid, like fix the garage door. Seller's like, no, I'm not doing that. I've already dropped the price. I'm not doing anything more. Okay, now we start all over again. They're going to cost them way more than $500 at the end of the day. 100%. So but if you let the sellers know up front, look, we have the negotiation doesn't stop. We have to, prepare them for the outcome. Let them know that there will be our buyers asking more now than it cost them. We've seen it in a long time. Our buyers making more requests for repairs and concessions and that kind of stuff. They are, and that's because if you haven't been in the real estate world since before 2012, you've never seen a balanced market.
Mhm.
You've only seen a seller's market. And for those sellers, they've only seen sellers markets, right? And it's very easy when you think, well, that's how it is, right? It's how it's always been. Well, it's been that way for 12, 13 years. But we're heading back into a different market where it is a much more balanced market. Our buyers have more buying power now than in the last 12, 15 years, right? And so that's a different place where we're not negotiating from that place. Remember that summer of 21 I was telling you about. Do the sellers have to make any repairs? No. It was as is world, right? They weren't doing nothing. You didn't like it? I'll take the next one. Is that the market now? No, we need to make sure our sellers know that, because buyers are walking away, and you want them to understand that. And so it's really about communicating that. All right. Now, we talked about this earlier, but do we need more listings?
Yes.
Yes, we absolutely need listings. Now is the time to focus on listings. Now is the time to reach out. Now is the time to look into your databases, right? A lot of us have really extensive databases of a lot of past clients and friends, and we have not looked at that database in a long time. What I really want you to do is I want you to pull out your old dusty database, dust it off, and shake it out. And then I want you to compare it to the 9Ds, right? I want you to look at your database and who's going through divorce, who's getting diplomas, who has dumpsters, who has diamonds, who has discretionary income, who has this really long daily grind drive, who's going through debt. All these things are people move because of life events. What you're really looking at is who in your database has life events. You need to be talking to these people about selling their houses. When's the right time to do this?
And some of the
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday, right?
Some of the market you may not be comfortable with, or some of y'all who is in a very healthy relationship, you may have a hard time dealing with divorcees. And that's okay. You don't have to hit every one of those markets, but we just want you to know each one of those markets, there's an opportunity. Okay, if you are going to pursue divorcees, please understand the psychology behind it, because otherwise you're going to work yourself to death and you'll never get anywhere on that one there. So all we ask is that whatever you want to pursue, understand that market, the thought pattern behind those sellers, potentially buyers, and be sympathetic. Okay.
But there's a lot of opportunity areas. Like I said, listings definitely one. Now, the advantage for you here is that this time of year, we have more new listings come on the market this time of year than any time. A lot of times, if you have sellers that are waiting in the wings, when are they waiting to list still? Right now. Don't wait, because what you don't want to have happen is like what's happened to us at different times through our career, where you'll see somebody, you'll be at the movies or whatever, be like, oh, hey, You know that house you sold us? It's on the market. So happy for you. All right. But I didn't keep up, right?
All the
So,
best.
yeah. Uh-huh. Oh, you're buying a new house? Oh, okay. Yeah. You should buy a car too. Right now. No, I'm just being sorry. Maybe I'm bitter. Maybe I'm vindictive. All right. So we are seeing inventory, but we need more inventory. All right. There we go. That's the same thing.
Is that if you don't keep up with your contacts, somebody else will.
Yeah. The other thing that the data shows us is we have our shortest days on market in the spring.
Yeah.
So if you get a listing now, are you way more likely to sell it faster and for more money? Yes, now's the time to be the hero. You do have to reach out here. Now, are buyers buying on price or are they buying on payment? Payment, right? So they don't know what $350,000 means. What do they know? I pay $2,250 a month. They know that.
That's
Right.
25.
Yep. So what I want you to understand is that financing is a very important piece for the buying side. Now, one thing that I have asked Ming to kind of help us out here today is, and I think that this is something that we agents that understand buy downs close more deals. And I see where a lot of agents don't understand buy downs. They don't know what buy downs means. They don't know how they work. And also at the same time, a lot of lenders won't explain buy downs. They'll tell you things like, it depends. You know, like we hear that all the time. Yes, ma'am.
To a new townhome community, and I was just like previewing and see what their product looked like.
Mhm.
And the agent was saying, I was like, what incentives do you have? She said, well, we have the buy down, but then we have a fixed rate. And I said, okay, what's your buy down? She said, oh, I really don't push that. I said, why? And she said, well, because it's just so complicated. I said, well, what is it? She didn't even understand it.
Well, but
And I was like, how are you selling something you don't understand? So I did break it down. She said, nobody ever told me that. I said, well, how can you sell something that you don't even understand? She said, I just told them to go with the fixed rate.
wow. But you know, but you bring up
Why you not selling?
well, no, but you're bringing up a real good point. I'll be honest with you. Since we started talking to a lot of folks, we realized how many of us in the real estate community
Don't even understand.
don't understand how rate buy downs work. And then, but it's more than understanding how rate buy downs work. It's understanding how to work with a lender to be able to help to lower your buyer's payment. That's the big kicker here, is that when you don't understand buy downs, like a lot of loans, the majority of loans have some kind of buy down attached to them. Do you know that? Most agents have no idea, right? Sometimes they'll hear from a lender like, we need 3,200 in closing costs. That's what they hear.
Yeah, more than that, honey.
No, it's just a number. I mean, it's just a number, but like a lot of times they'll use words like closing costs, but they won't explain to us what a buy down really is. So many agents don't know how a buy down works. So,
The discount.
but discount points are tied directly to buy downs, right? So anyway,
Letitia, come up here and help me.
so here I'm gonna. But what? So
But you're one exception I know that knows how that works.
Yeah.
And let me go over this segment with you guys really quick. So, and I'm sorry if it sounds a little dumb down, but I just want y'all to get the basic understand and so we can go on to further.
we
So
do want
what's
you to
the-
understand. Yeah.
Yeah, well, what's the mortgage buy down? The mortgage buy down is a money paid up front to lower the interest rate. Okay, we all know back in 2021, 22, the interest rate was at 3 and 4%, right? All of a sudden, say about $150,000 home, because that's was the average before him, right? The first starter home. All of a sudden jump up to 240,000. The reason they can do that is because the rate was so low, they're buying on the payment, the monthly payment versus the actual value of the house. this is what the power interest rate does, okay? So lower interest rate means lower monthly payment, but may come from buyer, seller, builder, or lender credits. Now, lender credits, I love y'all, it's like me asking you guys that we give up automatically 1% in commission, okay? Don't do that because.
Sometimes you may see some that throw in a little bit here and there. They do the same thing we do, and that is they'll do things to make a deal happen, but you can't expect your lender to eat all the cost of a buy down. That's just not realistic.
Your LO, just so you know, from this side of the equation, they don't get 3% at all. They're not even close to 3%. Okay, not only that, they don't get paid at closing, they get paid 30 days later after the transaction has closed. And that's why it's hard to ask the lenders, so hey, can we get some lender credit? Can we get lender credit? It's not going to work because they work really hard for that file. And they will only do it if there's a small deficiencies. You know, if it's a matter of $400, you know, the lender's gonna call you first, the agents, because they know you got a bigger pot, right? And then they'll ask you to see if you will rebate your client first before they do that. And rightfully so, because once again, the best LO out there, they make about 1.5%, the best. Okay,
Let's go.
so anyway,
More
not-
buy down is.
yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. So there's two type of buy down. One's permanent buy down, meaning whatever you buy down is a permanent rate for that 30 years.
So the term of the loan.
Okay. There's temporary buy downs, basically 2-1. Most of your builder right now are doing what they call 2-1 buy down. The first year is 2 points off. Let's say the at the end of the interest rate is, oh gosh, aggressive. All right.
Get a slide.
Slide. So reduction to doing it, okay, most comments 2-1 buy down, often done by seller or builder concessions, okay? And payment gradually increase to full note rate. So if the final permanent rate is 4.99 or 5.99, the first year, if you do a 2-1 buy down with 3.99, second year will be 4.99 with a final pay rate of 5.99, okay? But right now, the builder's final rates are 4.99. Why is that?
Reducciones temporales de
That's why. Starting off at 2.9.
They start at 2.99.
Yeah.
And the reason being, if you look at this, okay. Your buy downs, 4.5, 5.5, 6.5, okay? Your monthly payment first year is $3,200. Remember, we buy on the payment. Okay, but your final rate at 6.5 is $3,900. So look at the saving. This is annual saving, y'all. Okay,
Now,
that
do
makes
we
sense?
love permanent buy downs or
I
temporary buy downs? Permanent buy downs, but you know, it's one of those where sometimes people want to get in. Maybe they say, look, I'm going to be getting a big raise in a couple of years. I'm going to be changing to this. There can be a time for a temporary buy down. We are much more aggressive and optimistic about permanent buy downs, but you are seeing a lot more temporary buy downs now. Do let your clients know that it is going back up, even though they're starting off on year 1 and year 2. Like they will have to pay the piper here eventually.
And
So that's
just-
the only negative about the
So just so
temporary.
you know, a buyer has to qualify at this rate. Because a lender look at it as, this is your permanent rate, you have to deal with this for the next 28 years. So if you can't qualify at that rate, there's no qualification, no matter how much you wanna buy down temporary. Okay? So you see the equation here, first year you save $8,500, second year you save $4,400, third year you're back to your regular rates. Okay, and this will be base about 450-ish.
Yeah.
Purchase price. Okay,
Is it per 100,000?
so, okay, let's go over that.
Yeah,
next.
yeah, yeah. We'll get there, kind of thing. And that's just the same thing.
So that's the same thing. So the builder, no offense, the builder, y'all, Latoya used to be our agent. She's in this subdivision. agent. She's sponsoring the lunch today. But before we get, so the reason why the builder do buy down is for a couple of things. One, that instead of lowering the sale price on the subdivision, okay, which will impact the next appraisal. So when they price out these homes, they're already taking consideration of the buy down points that they will have to purchase upfront. And most you builder buy bulk, all right, loans already pre-negotiated. And that's why they're able to do what they're doing.
Well, but not only that, I want you to think about the power of what that does. I mean, why do a lot of our buyers go towards new construction? What happens to their payments,
It's great.
right? But we see where a lot of times listing agents aren't looking at this. Listing agents take a $10,000 price reduction. What happens if you buy down a buyer's rate for $10,000? What's that do to their payment?
Can buy down unlimited,
Yeah,
Buy
well, we'll
down.
get there. Sorry.
okay? Borrower can only buy down up to X amount. Okay, depending on type of loan they take out.
Yeah.
Okay, it is contingent on the type of loan. Okay?
Yep.
So even your borrower may have the money, but they can't buy down to certain points.
Yep.
All right?
Hold on.
Yes,
You want
So
that?
the seller can.
I didn't realize that.
Unlimited?
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
that's why
Very
builder is able
interesting.
to do what
Yeah,
they do.
yeah, the builders can,
So
builders, sellers,
when they go and say, we'll give you the temporary buy down. Okay, when you look at, if you really evaluate their closing costs, you'll see there's about anywhere from depending on sale price, okay? $9,000 to $12,000 worth of money they're already contributing into the buy down. Okay? Yeah, we'll give you a say, yep, that's right. So, and that's why they're able to do that. They have unlimited. Whereas borrower can only buy down so much before it's because in a mortgage world, it becomes a aggressively priced loan. And that's against the mortgage.
now on permanent buy downs, just give
Okay.
one second, on permanent buy downs. You have discount points. This is where agents get confused.
Yep.
Okay, this is the big confusion part, and I'm not trying to take over from Ming, but
Yeah,
like
he is.
I am, and I can't help it. But like, I can't help it. I can't help it. Look, for us, what we have to understand is a 1% or one discount point is 1% of the loan amount. But that's only roughly a quarter point in the interest rate.
So when
So
we
it's-
say 1%, okay, it does not mean 1% of interest rate. It means a quarter point of interest rate.
So normally to
That's the
drop it
buy-down.
one, so if I want to drop it 1%, how many discount points do I need? 4.
So.
And one discount point is,
Stop right there. If I have a loan of 100 grand, I'm gonna override him now. If I have a loan of 100 grand, what is 1 point discount? Thank you. So that's quarter of a point. So it's the interest rate at 6%, we're at 5.75 for that $1,000. So if I want to write down a whole percentage, that takes 4 points. That'd be $4,000 the buyer has to put in, or the seller, doesn't matter, okay? Has to put in to buy that 6% rate down to 5%. That makes sense?
now the numbers change a lot once you start adding in
It's easier.
$400,000 house. Because that $400,000 house, what's 1%?
4,000.
$4,000. But if you want to drop it by 1%, $16,000, right? So like
So now-
that's where the big kicker starts.
A seller can say, instead of taking a price discount of 16,000 or 10,000, what happened if they buy down the rates for the buyer? You now have better pool of buyer that's qualified for that purchase than the borrower that has no assistance in buy down. That's how the builders are doing it.
Yeah.
I love y'all.
Go ahead.
But for resale, I just had a question, but for resale, it's gonna be limited to the type of loan with the cap on seller concessions, right?
Nope.
No, so separate? It's
Yeah.
separate? That's what I was trying to figure out, so everyone understands what I'm saying.
That's the best kept
Okay,
secret,
that's what I was trying to figure out.
okay?
Well, but the other thing,
So if you have an FHA, what's the maximum seller concession? 6, FHA 6, VA's 4, conventional's 3. You can get the seller buy down point without touching the concession.
Oh, dude, that's a
This
good-
is how,
That's a-
builders are doing it.
Well,
to
but
get the permanent buy down.
but think, I want you to think about two different things here. One is on the seller side. Are you
Yes.
better off to take 10, you know, so let's say that you have this magical $400,000 house, right? And you know that
It's not
about,
magical, that's the average.
okay, take a $400,000 house and you talk to the seller and you're like, all right, we need to drop the price. Do you want to drop the price $15,000 or do you want to offer this home 4.99? I mean, if rates are running 5.99, can you buy it down by about a point?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be somewhere around that $16,000 range. What have you done for that buyer?
You know how, because I'm
Prices.
buying based on the payment.
Yeah.
I'm
Yep.
not buying based on the purchase price of the house.
Well, the other side of things that I think is really important for us to look at, that's the sell side. But on the buy side, I see where all the time agents are gonna talk to a lender and they're gonna say, hey, I need $6,000, $8,000 in closing costs. And that's all you hear is closing costs. You don't know what that is. Now, if your lender comes to you and you talk to the lender and they say, look, maybe what happens if you didn't go in and ask for a $10,000 price reduction plus $6,000 in closing costs? What if you left it and said, you know what, we're gonna make a full price offer, but we need $16,000 in concession?
And your special step should say, all party agrees. The total $16,000 can be a buy down from seller, closing costs, whatever prepaid,
But what kind of-
whatever the lender allows.
What kind of an
That's the key.
impact have you made on your buyer's life? Right? I want to take this all the way back to that very first slide, which is buyers are buying on payment. Agents have not been looking at payment. They're looking at price. They're
Mhm.
not being able to talk about the fact that, you know what? How we structure these offers can really benefit my buyer. Am I better off to take a $10,000 price reduction or to put $10,000 towards their loan?
Buying it down.
Think about, I mean, like, we're gonna show you a slide, you start looking at what some of these numbers look like in a minute. Like, that's life-changing money when you start saving hundreds of dollars a
We
month.
understand difference when we talk about discount points, not necessarily 1% of that upfront payment does not equate to 1% of interest rate. It's only a quarter.
That's what
percent.
throws everybody off, yeah.
That makes sense? Okay, all right, cool. All right, so here's what we're looking at. No buy down, you're paying about 25. With permanent buy down, you're paying about $2,900.
I'm 23.
Sorry, 23, so sorry.
Yeah.
But you see how this equation works. Now I can afford much more expensive home, but my monthly payment still set. So this is the equation a lot of time, and I'm kind of, and I know that some of y'all feel like that I might trespass on your client. Please be assured, because I went on the mortgage side more now. Please be assured, I will never, ever take any client from y'all. My goal is truly to help you guys to understand the equations on both sides, so you can better negotiate and better help your client to win more offers, if not more clients, so you have more transactions. And that is truly my goal, because I got tired, and y'all know we have had a lot of in-house lender for a long time. Some were great, some were okay, some were great in personality, some were not. But at the end of the day, what I thought was lacking was that the communication part of it, okay? Why do we do certain things? Why aren't we exploring? Because like you said, Letitia, that agent on this subdivision didn't even know what buy down is. And sometimes some lenders don't understand, and they don't want you to get in their business, so to speak, okay? And they're really not collaborating with you, because you may know something about your client that they can do, and a lender does not. Okay, so at the end of the day, it's about collaboration, get your client to back to where they need to be, so we can make the deal work, okay? So I just want y'all to know that I'm very transparent, and y'all know that. If I can fight with you guys on your special step in your contract, I'm gonna do the same for your loans. If I tell you they really can't do it, it's a good reason. I have exhausted my options, okay? And a lot of time too, Okay, let's talk about this real quick. So, $350,000 loan for 30 years. Okay, I just want you to look at even just 1% or even 0.5%. What that value is on a monthly payment. What is paid over 30 years, the differences. And what they're paying total interest. And what is your cost in buying down that 0.5%? That $7,000 can save you
Monthly
40,
payment,
about almost what, $40,000 in a lifetime of the loan.
$100 a month too.
So that's a power equation. That's a power of numbers, y'all. So if you can even buy down just 1 point, granted it costs you $14,000 upfront. But look at your saving. Your interest is over 75, almost $75,000 over a lifetime of the loan.
Less, yeah.
Less. Okay, so this is why interest, that's
Well-
why during pandemic, everybody can afford much expensive home. Because the interest was incredible during that time.
And seriously, look at the change from a 6 to a 5. I think this is such an important thing for us to realize is that $14,000 right now. Are we making offers $10, $8, $12,000 under asking right now? Yeah, we are. So the sellers are coming back. But how much do you change your buyer's life when you go from $2,100 to $1,850? When I could, you know what? I can save you $250 a month if I with this. But see, what we're not seeing happen is we're not seeing agents and lenders working together to get this. We're seeing where the client talks to the lender, the client talks to us. We structure an offer, and we never talk to the lender in structuring the offer.
Correct.
And the lender never tells us what closing costs means, right? Is it, you know, like, and some of it will be their fees, and sometimes there's legitimate fees. I'm not trying to say that.
Some
Like Meg's gonna talk to you from the lender side. I'm talking to you from like, this is a business opportunity when you understand how this works. If you're working with buyers right now, please, I need you to have a real serious sit down and chat with your lender. And anytime that you have a lender that you get a buyer pre-approved, then let's start having some conversations with the lender to say, you know, like I'm not trying to get into their financial world, but where are they coming in? What's that payment going to look like? And what do we need to lower that payment? Like, if you can put all three, like yourself, the buyer, and the lender together, I think that's a wonderful scenario that I don't see happening right now at all. I see that we have a conversation with the buyer, lender has a conversation with the buyer. Rarely are we talking either way, and we're missing that whole communication piece. Because if I know that I can get $14,000 out of this sale, I can structure it a little bit different. Maybe we don't ask for a $10,000 price reduction. Maybe we come in at a full price, but we're asking for $14,000 to apply towards that because they're going to be able to buy their rate down because I worked with my lender. This is magic. This is something that can really like when I can save you $250 a month. How amazing you think I am? I mean, seriously, for a buyer, I mean, that's a big $250 a month. I mean,
That's a
now
lot of
you got
stuff
money to
now.
go on vacation. Now you can start paying down different things. I mean, that's a big deal. I mean, that is a significant chunk of change that's really going to save your client some money over time.
Is, I think as a good agent, buyers or sellers, if you have a conversation with your client and just a very honest conversation, how many times do you hear buyers that I can't afford it, I can't afford it, I can't afford it? So, and what you can do, then you say, okay, I understand you can afford it on this $2,000. You're paying rent right now, $2,200. You can't afford $2,400. I get it. Let's save up some money. If not, when we negotiate, what you need to look for inventory that is a little bit more days on the market, because those sellers are more interested in negotiating with you. Okay?
How much better offers can you do if you work with your lender than if you just get, hey, the lender said I need this in closing costs? Yeah, I think that there's a real opportunity for partnerships here between the lenders and between the buyer's agents. to be able to start negotiating. Now, one thing I do want you to point out is that most of your buy downs, they have to be there 5 years for a break even. That's just the average is about 5 years. So now our average buyer is in 10 to 11 years in a home. So it's not really a problem for most. But if you have someone who's like, oh, we're going to move in 2 or 3 years, you shouldn't do a buy down. They won't get their money back out of it. But if you can, but most of our buyers are planning on living in their home 20. They only live there 10 or 11, but they plan on living there 20. And so this makes a lot of sense over the term of the loan. If I can save you $250 a month, that's a big deal. But they should make sure that they're living there for at least that they're realistically going to be there 5 years, or else the buy down probably doesn't make sense.
So, and that's one of the reasons why I came to this side equation, because I got tired of not really fully understanding, one, what is the other side equation and what it means. And two, to kind of better educate you guys and hopefully partner with you guys so we can do more deals. And sometimes not all buyers are ready today. We can definitely get them ready down the road. Okay. So anyway, that is really my goal, and I do want to educate you guys the difference in what these rates means and why some of these are attractive to certain people. And y'all, just because somebody said, I want this, sometimes they understand all the equation, what we're looking at, then they can make a better informed decision whether or not they want to wait until they save up their money, or if they want to go ahead and move forward and ask you to ask the seller for the buy downs. That makes sense? Okay.
By the way, this is what our builders are doing. Am I wrong, Latavia?
Oh, no.
No, they're right.
Latavia's a no.
No, I'm serious, but that's why we love the builders. The builders are being smart about this.
So at the end of the day, the borrower must qualify at full interest rate, okay? Even though temporary buy downs are great, they'll save a couple $100 first couple of years. At the end of the day, they have to qualify for the full interest rate. So it does take a better credit to utilize multiple benefits. I know you guys hear DPA all day, right? You understand what DPA means? Down payment systems. When you're asking people for your down payment, typically there's a string attached. Okay, one based on location, one can be based on income and how many people you have in your household. And the biggest equation is credit, y'all. One of the biggest equations in any lending industry is your credit. If you have a poor credit, you can't even ask for down payment. Okay, so
You might qualify for the loan, but you don't qualify for DPA.
correct. And what happened too, sometimes I just ran a transaction earlier. Great income earner. Problem is they have a lot of debt. Credit card revolving. Okay, so with any loan, there's a ratio, right? Okay. If the first loan is right at the maximum ratio, you can't even ask for DPAs because you're at the max. So it matters whether or not they have a lot of debt outstanding compared to their income. So I just want y'all to know, even though they make good money, doesn't mean a thing, because they may have credit card debt out of Wazoo. And it will not qualify them for the house. Technically for a 6-figure income earner, you should be able to qualify easily a $450,000 home, right? The problem is that if you have a credit card debt where you're paying about $2,000 or $3,000 out a month, you're not qualified. Okay, you're probably qualified $275. And I know, I'll make some kids go, what do you mean I can't qualify?
And we just they had a Bentley and they had an Aston Martin, and they had a Bentley and Aston Martin payment.
And insurance.
They made real good money, but by the time that you
money.
pay for your Bentley and your Aston Martin,
Yeah.
hey, they
And they live the life of luxury and, on the outward appearance, but, when you look at their finances, like, oh, okay.
they make good money. It's
Yeah,
good money too.
Yeah. The problem is the lender's looking at it as, okay, what happens if you have life changes? It's your job. It's an algorithm. Okay. I don't control them. Fannie, Freddie Mac does. Okay. They look at the algorithm based on your type of job. What's the stability of that as well? Okay. And once again, they have all the data in their back end. I don't control that. Okay. So payment increase when you buy down ends for temporary, of course, refinance timing is uncertain. Like last week, Monday, Tuesday was the best rate. Wednesday it went like this because of all the news. And during the weekend, it kind of stayed up there and probably yesterday started doing just a little bit, not quite on the rates. So rates is reflected. Okay, and typically when I talk to a client, a borrower, I will ask them if I get all their data and paperwork. That's the other equation. The buyer has to give me the data, right? Without it, I can't do the equations, right? And so the day I talk to them, if they're happy with it, I'll look at the rates and I also know what the rates is doing on a daily average. And so I'll let them know, say, we can lock the rate at this today, and these are your payment. Or we can, what we call float down, okay? And sometimes floating is like gambling, right? You're hoping to hit the lotto number, right? And so if anything shift in economy went up, that's beyond me. Okay, so we typically like to lock the rate down the day we have all the document in, have a very thorough conversation with the borrower and make sure that we're good and lock it that day. Okay, that's just because rate does this. Agent must clear expectation with buyers, set clear expectation with buyers. Okay, I'm their best friend, I promise you. And they have some skeleton in a closet they think they can hide. Let me tell you, the lending world has all your credentials when it comes to finance. They will ask you stuff. They'll go through your bank statement and ask you, what's this? What's that? No longer is it just like, oh, you got this money incoming, this is y'all going, we're gonna go. They will analyze, and you guys know Karna and Afterpay, right?
I learned.
Those
about
things
that
are-
Buyer, and it was, I never knew about it.
I didn't either.
Split payment, and she had so much of it on her credit, and the lender wanted an explanation
For every one of them. And you have to print out a statement from Karna or Afterpay. It's deferred payment. You know how sometimes you go Amazon or wherever you go, they'll Macy's, JCPenney, I don't care, they'll say, hey, you wanna break it up in the next 4 payments or 6 months? Those are the Karna, Afterpay, whatever they are. And what happened is that you have to pay off and within that time frame, or they start charging you an incredible interest rate. 24, 26% for that little $32 you bought.
That loan shark rates
Oh,
right
yeah,
there.
they're a little sharp.
Yeah.
And so as a lender, we look at it, and say, are these potential debt? And if you can't show us it's being paid off, or you're on track with the payment, and the bank statement doesn't show you're paying them on time, we're gonna count that as your debt, and now your debt to income ratio is off. Okay, they're really good with scrutinizing your bank statement, okay? Not me, the lending.
Underwriter.
Yes, the underwriter is a mini auditor.
All right, we got some story.
Wait, mini? Oh, no, I would not call them mini.
They're worse than your CPA,
Yeah.
Okay.
Mini.
just because they do this for a living, all right?
All right, that's all the lending world, but for us, we need to make sure that there's some new strategies that we need to be employing to help our buyers get lower
Am I
payments.
done?
No, no, you're not.
You're
I
like,
am.
that's it for the mortgage.
Oh, no. So, should we be negotiating seller concessions to set up price reductions? Yeah, I think right now is a very good time to do that. I mean, you've seen the data. It makes so much more sense. I can take a price reduction, or I can lower your monthly payment. Let's lower the monthly payment. So, working with the lender.
TI now meets, like, FHA loan, the maximum we can have is 56.8888. Not to exceed 9. So if I can buy down your points instead of being charged at 6.25, now I'm at 5.5, your payment is less. So your DTI, your debt to income ratio, is less than that magical number. Sorry.
But utilizing closing costs. We need to be asking for more closing costs, but understand what the closing cost is. So talking to our lender, we can use those same concessions on temporary buy downs if it's right in the certain situations. There are some times when that will be right. I'm not trying to promote the whole,
Temporary
date the rate kind of thing. I think that's realistic, but it's going to help more people qualify if we can get their rates and their payments down here. And then the builders are doing them. I promise. Agents who understand financing close more deals. Partnering with your lenders, and I mean truly partnering with them, truly working with them to help your buyers out, means you both win. And I just can't stress that enough. No.
All right. Oh, next.
Yeah.
I do,
There
I
you
do
go.
ask for y'all's business, like any good, like you guys should be asking your client for business, right? So I am gonna ask for your business, and I understand I may not be a fit for every client, and I understand that perfectly. Like, I personally had a client who was qualified at 6.125, but I took her to Latavia subdivision because they had 1.99 buy down, so I was qualifying her at 325,000. Could not find inventory. She had one that's for 415,000. She was qualified based on that rate. So not only did my client was extremely happy with the house, it's brand new. The other houses she was looking at, 325, all had some kind of deferred maintenances. So, and the room for Latavia subdivision was perfect for her and her family. So it's a win-win, you guys.
When did you sell Latavia like that?
Was her first transaction.
All right.
When she went from maximum to, the other side of the equation, but anyways, no.
I do want to talk to y'all really quickly about Finso. Vincent, go back. So Vincent, go ahead. If you haven't seen it, we're seeing it now. FinCEN it's called the real estate report, and this is for your investors, right? If you have someone that buys a home and not in their name, so a trust, an LLC, and they don't use traditional financing, FinCEN it's the U.S. Treasury Department Financial Crimes Group. They want to make sure if you're buying a house that this isn't money from a cartel. This isn't money from nefarious reasons and things like that. This is not money laundering. Now, if someone goes through traditional financing, then they have all these checks and balances and looking at that kind of thing. But when you have someone who's like buying cash under an LLC name, they want to make sure that's not cartel money or things like that. And so now you have this thing called the real estate report. Your closing attorneys are required to collect this. It is about 120 different data points on here. And so if it's a residential property, the buyer is an entity, meaning an LLC, corporation, or partnership, and no traditional bank mortgage, they're going to be required to do this. It's going to have and now here's the first kicker. For our investors, when you say, hey, you got to fill out all this extra paperwork now, how well do you think that the investors are taking this? I never had to do it before. Okay, you have to do it now. Well, we already had an instance where they didn't turn the paperwork in time. So the closing attorney can't schedule the closing. Guess what? This doesn't qualify for the 8-day unilateral. Right? You can't use the 8-day unilateral now. It's not that the attorney can't do it. It's that they haven't got the information that they needed from the investor. So please let your investors know that if any of if it's a residential property, it's not in somebody's name and it's not using traditional financing, they will have to fill out the real estate report. The attorney's going to send them and you can't do this for them, because they have to certify it. It is not public knowledge. No one will be able to look at it, that kind of stuff, but they are requiring it. Now, if you are an investor and you close an investment property, do you think this is causing our closing costs to go up? I mean, our attorney fees to go up? Yes or yes?
Yes.
Absolutely. So it's taking on average 8 to 15 days longer. Extra money, slowing the whole process down. It's pissing a lot of investors off. But like Are they gonna be like, well, if you complain enough, I won't move, the government's not gonna make you do it? No, please let your investors know. This went into effect March 1st. We tried to let everyone know last month, but then everyone's like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then March 1st came and everybody starts losing their flipping mind. Like, what is this? So that's what this is. You'll see it out there in the real world kind of thing going on. Y'all with me?
Yeah.
All right. Anybody have any questions about it? I've had to do it already. It's a pain in the butt. I mean, it's not like it's painful. It's just more paperwork, right? You have to show everyone that has equity interest in the LLC. You have to provide a lot more documentation, that kind of stuff. It's just annoying, I guess, more than painful. And most investors don't do extra if they ain't got to. So just want to make sure that you're aware of what's going on. Also, we're still doing our masterminds on Monday. Please take advantage of these. This is every Monday morning at 9:30. So like this past Monday, we had George MLS came talking about the new transaction desk. And guess what? The new transaction desk. What do you need to do with the new transaction desk? No. Don't do it. That's what they said, right? Well, like when you log in the transaction desk, they say, hey, do you want the new one? No, don't touch it, right? It's not working right yet. So those kind of things. So that what they're saying is don't do that, but they did teach us how to go back if you have done it already too. This Monday coming up, we have Shantha is going to be teaching lead generation. We've got Boltro doing some. I'm going to be teaching about what to do a team in a few weeks. So the other thing is like for a lot of us, we still get up at the crack of noon. Right? What happens when you get up Monday morning and you start hitting the ground, your feet hit the ground, you start running, you start getting things done. We do this every Monday at 9:30. I want you to start your week off, get rolling. After you get out of this thing, what do you think I want you to do then? Go call some sellers, right? We need to get some more listings. Are y'all with me?
Yes.
All right, great. Skipped it. And then I just want to congratulate our top producers. So thank you very much.